I'm literally sitting in. All right. We are live, you guys. And man, I always get excited and I start laughing and everything. Once we get in here, it's nervous laughter, you guys, because I am sitting in a space with some man, some like crazy queens. Like these ladies right here are the epitome of awesomeness. So first of all, if you guys are sharing on your phones, if you turn your volume down so that we don't have any feedback. Um, and we are streaming live from Anti-Black Conversations. I'm trying to figure out where that feedback is coming from.
Maybe because you got two computers.
Well, it could be, right? Well, we'll see. I may turn one. I could shut one down. Um, it could be. It could be.
For me, you sound okay right now. I don't know about everybody else, but
All right. Well, I'll get that situated in just a minute. So, in the meantime, while we're working the kinks out of this, and y'all forgive me for my technical difficulties and all of that stuff, I am streaming from two computers, which is crazy. We won't even talk about that. But for those of you that are tapping in as people are coming in, my name is Tony McNeil. I am well, I'm a community organizer by trade. I do all kind of stuff, in the community. But today I am the facilitator, the author, the host of Anti-Black Conversations. It is my baby, my pet peeve. I absolutely love this space. It is an opportunity for me to engage in deep dialogue and conversation with my Black folks, male, female, just it don't matter, whatever the gender. But it gives an opportunity for us to talk about real issues that we find ourselves, dealing with and facing within the Black community. The unique thing about anti-Black conversations is that one of the things that we often don't realize as Black people is that we have anti-Blackness that is deeply rooted and embedded in our psyche. So when I look at myself in the mirror, and I say, I don't like my lips, I don't like my skin, I'm too big, I'm too this. What I'm really doing is operating from a place of anti-Blackness that is rooted in the history of white supremacy and racism in our country. So there's no getting around it. You can't escape it. It is a part. It's interwoven in our psyche. So today we're going to have a conversation surrounding anti-Blackness within the Black community about detoxing from toxic relationship mentality. So that's a mouthful. So let me say it again. We are going to talk about detoxing from toxic relationship mentality. Um, so before we dive in and stuff, I want us to go around and I want us to be able to introduce ourselves. And so let me have these queens come up and Tia, let's just popcorn it. So Tia, you start and then you popcorn it to somebody. So introduce yourself. Say whatever it is that you want to say. But and if you don't say enough, I'm gonna make you say more.
okay, that's I'm comfortable with that because I never know what to say. My name is Tia. I'm from South Sacramento. Um, I'm a mother of three beautiful, amazing little. Um, I am the partner of a wonderful Black man, the daughter of two incredible Black parents. Um, I don't know what else. What else you want to know? Because I know you'll tell me what
What
else
do
you.
you do? What do you do in the community?
In the community, I am the vice president of Safe Black Space, which is an organization focused around Black wellness and Black mental health. I'm also the vice president of Sacramento ACT, Area Congregations Together, um, which is a multi ethnic, multi faith organization that fights against injustice. I'm also the founder of Be Love Holistic, which is an LLC dedicated to supporting Black women, all things Black women. So just the holistic health, and that's emotional, mental, spiritual, physical fitness of Black women, and really just pouring into us and getting us out of some of that internalized hate that we were talking about earlier. Um, and then otherwise, I'm just a village hand. Like wherever I can be used, I am. I think that's um, my biggest desire is to be useful. Um, I have a PhD. I have certifications and trainings up the woo-ha. So like, I just want to be useful wherever I can be. Um, it's no good for me to just keep it all to myself. So wherever I'm useful, that's where I am. Is that good enough?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yes. And so, who you want to go next?
Ebony.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm Ebony Chambers McClinton, a mouthful. Uh, I'm so happy to be here with all of these wonderful women and share. I think there's so much value in us sharing and stepping into vulnerability and into this beautiful space that Tony has created. And I'm just grateful to be a part of this conversation. So about me, I am, same as Tia, a mother of some beautiful kids from the ranges of 14 to 29. So 4 kids. I got 2 grandkids and a wonderful husband, which I will definitely be talking about today when we talk about the detox and stepping into just a beautiful space that I share now with my husband, Ryan. Let's see, the work in the community. I am board president of Black Women's United and also a chief officer at a nonprofit that serves youth and families, about 800 youth and families in Sacramento. I'm from South Sacramento too, so South Sacramento stand up. And so let's see, I'm also the founder of Healing Grace Studios and do a lot of holistic work in the community, one-on-one and retreats. And then I also teach at UC Davis and do a lot of work focused around diversity, equity, and inclusion. So.
Good grief. Y'all come with credentials. Woo! I'm just saying. Okay. All right. LaDonna, you next. Introduce yourself, sis.
All right, now, peace family. I am LaDonna Lee. I am the founder of the Mantis Moon Temple, which is a sanctuary for grieving women, particularly Black women who have suffered the loss of a child and or a spouse. It is a space and a passion of mine. It's my passion to be there for Black women. It is my passion to hold space for women who feel marginalized, who feel like they are misunderstood. That is, I say all the time that I'm hardwired to be a sister. I am a Libra and a twin. I have 3 sisters. I was born to be the Black woman's woman. So that's how I show up and how I present myself to the world. That's who I am in community. That's who I am when I wake up and when I go to sleep. In terms of what I do to earn money and keep myself sheltered, I look frozen on my side. Am I frozen on y'all side?
You are not.
Okay, I'm back. The work that I do in the community, I work as a cultural broker, family advocate. It's a fairly new program in Sacramento County. And what we do is we provide advocacy for African American parents who are interfacing with CPS. So I tell people all the time that my job is to stand shoulder to shoulder with Black parents, help them get their stuff together, and keep their families whole. So that's who I am and currently what I do.
Wow. So as you guys can hear and see, I am surrounded by some serious, just some awesomeness, and that's what I try to do. I try to immerse and surround myself with with amazing people that I respect, that I esteem, that I appreciate, so that I can actually grow. So we fixing to dive into some, yeah, we finna to dive into some dialogue. And so I want to do something in order to ground us, if that's okay. So before we dive into this dialogue, and we wanted to bring some masculine energy, into the space. And then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Let me wait. We can bring masculine energy in, we got a little bit of masculine energy in the space already. So if we got to talk about that, we can, but I'm not even going to go there right now. But before we hear from our brothers, before we bring them in, I really wanted to create a space, where the women could actually lean into this conversation. And the reason why I'm really being focused on that is because I feel like the young women don't seem to really have, they don't see a lot of us, y'all. They don't see a lot of queens, that is like, really, really just kind of standing their ground and saying, I'm not fixing to settle. I'm so done. I'm not settling for the standard. I'm not going with what, everybody says. Yes, Ryan, it is an Aries dominant space. Oh gosh. Aries rocks. Yes. Anyway, before we go deep though into this conversation, I want to play a video that it's a song that I want to play. And I love this song. I love this song and it always centers me. And what I ask queens is that you listen to the song. We're going to start our conversation off from this. I want you to listen to the words that this song from this artist. And then when we come back, let's kind of talk about, where we land with what he's saying.
I got a quick question, Tony.
Yeah.
How can we see the comments?
I'll put them up in just a second.
Okay, thank you.
Pretty brown skin, pretty light skin, pretty dark skin. I see African written in your DNA. Hella chocolate melanin from the mother. The land with your black skin lit any other way. First things first, I'm blackity black black. I'm blackity black black. I'm blackity black black. If you don't like that, you whackity whack whack. You whackity whack. I said what I said, and that's that. This is for the queens that's rocking them kinky twists, from box braids to bantu knots and four lips, them dreadlocks, crochets, afros, and real hips, them pom-poms and sew-ins with edges that's real slick. Now catch this, your black presence is necessary, from Big Mama to Auntie Obama as First Lady. I validated, I still remember my mother's gumbo, Saturday mornings waking to soulful sounds of gospel. The richness of ancestral legacies and culture, our history extends beyond American borders. So please believe the hype. You're not too much, you are enough. Never shrink back, always speak up. Head tilted high, one fist to the sky. Don't doubt your worth, always attack. Know yourself first. One thing's for sure, you're made in the image of God. Shea butter, that melanin pop. Black woman, you will never be stopped. Pretty brown skin, pretty light skin, pretty dark skin. I see African written in your DNA. Hella chocolate melanin from the motherland with your black skin. Never should you want it any other way. Second things first, still blackity black black. Still blackity black black. Still blackity black. It's a blessing, not a curse. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget. If you need reminders, then run this back. You're so pretty for a black girl, it's not a compliment. Don't whitewash who you ought to be an option. You don't sound white, you just finished up your doctorate. Black Benz, new house, pockets real lucrative. That's right, pop, 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 bosses. CEO, boss, 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 boss chick. Killing stereotypes, switching up the narrative. Ain't no explanation needed, that's on Harriet. Raising black kids with some black sense, liberation, educate them, let them dream big, adding flavor, keep it seasoned, give them reasons to believe in what our ancestors dreamed of. You are beautifully valuable, distinguishably royal. Next time you look in the mirror, pause and say, black girl, I love you. I love you, I love you. Then repeat. One thing's for sure, you're made in the image of God, shade butter than melanin pop. Black woman, you will never be stopped. Pretty brown skin, pretty light skin, pretty dark skin. I see African written in your DNA. Hella choco melanin from the motherland with your black skin. Never should you want it any other way. Pretty brown skin, pretty light skin, pretty dark skin. I see African written in your DNA. Hella choco melanin from the motherland with your black skin. Never should you want it any other way. Remember who you are. Remember who you are and whose you are. Shooting star. Don't forget that part. That part. Know that you belong just as you are. With your pretty brown skin.
Yes. Now I can come out of all of this extra that I'm doing. All right, so you hear the song. What comes to mind?
Well, since no one else is jumping in there. Oh, yeah, you got to unmute.
We need more of that.
Oh.
What do you mean?
I mean, we need to hear more men say that to us more often. More.
Yeah.
More.
So we need to say it to ourselves more. Just both, you know, exactly what she said. And we need to say it to ourselves enough all the time, every day. Because otherwise, those external factors are going to overshadow that, you know. Logging into Facebook, that's our newspaper the first thing in the morning, you know. turning on the TV, turning on the news, turning on your favorite show. All of those things that we see and that we hear are going to contradict the message that he was just spitting at us. So we have to be responsible, and our men have to take some responsibility to tell us these things, and we have to tell ourselves these things, because otherwise it's going to be overshadowed by everything else that's going on in the world.
So what I hear both of you saying then is, LaDonna, I hear you saying that there was a significance in a man saying these things. And Tia, what I'm hearing you say is that even in the absence of the significance of the man saying it, it still isn't going to do enough work if the woman isn't saying it to herself too.
You on point. You on point.
Okay.
It helps to hear a brother say it. Whether it's our daddy, our brother, our significant other, it helps for sure. It's affirming, right? But we first have to affirm ourselves.
Yeah, I agree. I think even when we even consider where it starts, and that's at home. So the messages that we're hearing from our childhood as well, how our mothers and our fathers, our aunts, our grandparents are all, you know, pouring in and affirming our value and our worth, also extends into how we affirm our value as adults, you know. And so that narrative has to start from the very start of who we are. And we need to hear it from the men. We need to hear it from ourselves. We need to hear it from our sisters. You know, our sisters, we have to pour into each other, and our women partners. For those of us, you know, we can dive into a very heteronormative conversation right now, but I want to honor, you know, our LGBTQ community as well, and make sure, you know, that we also know that message also starts from other sisters to sisters too.
So I played the song But what I'm interested in knowing from you guys is, why is it significant? Why would we need to start here before we start talking about detoxing from toxic relationship mentality? Why here? Why do we need to start at this point?
You mean with just us, with just sisters?
With just sisters and our worth, in even identifying our worth.
We know it starts with us, right? I mean, if, I think Tia shared, right, that we have to, despite everything we're hearing out in the community, we have to be the ones to put up the shield against some of the negative, talk that's constant at us. And so if we are building that strong foundation, not saying that community is not necessary, because it absolutely is. We cannot deny how important our village is, but really starting with that foundational practice of affirming us is necessary to be able to go out and weather some of the storms outside of our homes.
And just to add to that, the reason we talking about toxic relationships is because of who we have allowed into our space, right? And so that lack of affirmation of ourselves is what allowed someone else to come in with their toxicity, right? It's because we haven't been true to ourselves, or honest with ourselves, or straight with ourselves, and just all of those things that start with self, that even allowed us to be in, maintain, prolong unhealthy relationships.
So, LaDonna, you have a healing space, and you create space for healing. How do we get to a place to where we even give ourselves permission to take care of self? Like, what do we have to do? Where does that start, sis? As someone that is a healer, where does that start?
This is kind of hard for me to say, but a lot of times people don't seek healing until they're hurt. And unfortunately, because if you're not hurt, if you're not feeling pain, then you think you're okay. So people start looking for healing when it hurts more than they can bear it. That's my experience. That's my lived experience, and that's what I've experienced with other women, is that we don't seek out anything until it becomes too much for us. So yeah.
Man.
A lot of times people got to be in real pain before they start to look for something to relieve that pain. And I mean, that's in terms of relationship. That's in terms of a toothache. That's in terms of your back hurting. Like,
right.
Depending on your level of tolerance, you will withstand a lot. Right? There are some people who can bump their elbow and they are on their way to the ER. Absolutely not. I'm not suffering a second with this pain. And then there are others who will have a broken toe and just wear more comfortable shoes, and it will never heal properly. So imagine the difference between those two types of people when it comes to their heart or their spirit.
Well, when you said that, what came to mind is that Black women, and so, and I did have a conversation a while back. I think, Tia, you may be a part of that conversation, the myth of the strong Black woman. And that myth says that we can bear more pain than we actually can. And there's this mindset and this mental that we have, that that I have to bear it, that I have to endure it. So when you said that, what came to mind for me, LaDonna, and I'm curious if this is something that any of other of you resonate with, is how long do we go with pain? By the time we reach our limit, that's not normal. And maybe that's what shifts. That may be one of the markers that makes this conversation unique from the white woman, is that myth of the strong Black woman. So like LaDonna, were you going to say something else? So Tia,
No,
Ebony, I'm interested in like how long have you guys gone? How long did you go in pain before you knew that you were in pain? Let's talk about that.
Ooh, let's talk about that. Well, okay, so I could say how long I knew I was in pain from the very beginning, and I think that was a conversation we were having before, we started this. Was that I was raised with my parents who were in a very loving relationship that modeled to me what trust looked like, what making mistakes look like, and how we heal from them correctly. So the minute I stepped into a very unhealthy marriage, I knew immediately. I saw those signs right away. I got married during a time I was grieving. I had just lost my father. So I was making very important decisions when I was not in a place that I should have been making those decisions. And so stepping into a unhealthy relationship, I immediately saw those dynamics and would recognize them and was like, this isn't right. But I was having children. And I was like, let me stay here for that. And so I knew I needed to leave, and yet I felt compelled to stay based on the narrative of, my family's culture that we stay and we push through, and we show up and we figure it out, and we hold pain because, that's something that the community also teaches as well. So while I had those healthy dynamics from my family, the community and other folks in our village taught differently. Like, you can figure this out. We don't, no one on my mother's side divorced in our history. I was one of the first people to step into that space, and it felt like I was carrying shame by doing so. So I was in that thing for 15 years, kind of navigating a marriage that just was not where I needed to be.
For me, it was the complete opposite. My parents divorced when I was 5. So most of the relationships I saw between Black men and Black women were unhealthy and volatile. The next closest Black man to me from my father was my older brother, who's 10 years older than me. And his relationship with his woman was violent on both sides. But, they loved each other. Right? They looked like, and when it was good, it just looked so good. When it was bad, it was terrible. My mom was always in an unhealthy, abusive relationship. My mom also had mental health struggles and alcohol and drug abuse struggles. And so I did not have the reference or the proper reference. So once I got into my situation, it looked exactly like what I thought it was supposed to look like. These are the types of relationships I've seen, and this is the type of relationship I'm in now, right? So verbal abuse, emotional abuse, physical abuse, I thought, man, he loved me so damn much. He just gets so mad when, it was backwards as fuck, right? Hella backwards. But that was all I was accustomed to. So once I got into a new relationship where it's hella healthy and hella wholesome, I'm like, no, this is not what it's supposed. This is fake, right? Because what was real to me was something very different. This is false. This is too good to be true, right? So I had a very different experience.
So you didn't trust the healthy because you were so acclimated and inclined to the unhealthy.
Absolutely.
From childhood experience, environmental stuff, and your own personal experiences. So when you were exposed to something that was real, you didn't even recognize it. You didn't trust it.
That's why you laughed when I sent you the response
Yes.
question. The response to my question was I kept trying to break up with him because this is way too good. This is not real. And how crazy does that sound that that love and beautiful care and thoughtfulness and all of these good things, these healthy and wholesome things are not real. How crazy does that sound? But that was not my reality, or that wasn't the reality that I had been accustomed to seeing. And so it was very strange to me. And it's still hard, like no lie, it's still hard getting used to. So
Whew. I've had to buy some books, y'all. I had to literally, y'all, I had to get a book on emotional intelligence in order to deal with just the language, just having dialogue with a man who is intentional on being healthy, because his mindset was intentional on being healthy for himself, and I was so acclimated to unhealthy, my survival tools, you know what I'm saying, the bags that I was carrying were so toxic. I had to start doing some real reading and studying, and in order to look for tools to replace the baggage that I was carrying from toxic relationships. And I hadn't been in relationships for years. But just because there was the absence of it, it's like riding a bike. You just pick it up, you know what I'm saying, and start pedaling and do what you do. Man. Okay, so we got a few questions that I dropped in the chat for us to explore. Look, and now here I am now again toggling between devices. So what are some signs that you're operating from a toxic relationship? Like, what were some tells? Ebony, we're gonna start with you. What
I got a whole list. Hives. No.
Oh, shut up, girl. Stop. No, for real.
No, seriously. No, when you are operating in an unhealthy environment, that disease shows up everywhere in our bodies, right? It's not just emotional. It impacts us physically too. So I know I remember going, why do I have hives? I literally did for years. I've not had them since. I've not had them since. But there's so much more than that. It impacts our self-esteem, right? Because we already get it outside. So if we're having it in the relationship too, one of our most closest intimate relationships, we are experiencing distrust and toxicity, that there's an impact to our esteem. There is constant vigilance, right, where we're second guessing ourselves from the gaslighting, right? If the environment is unhealthy and we're constantly being told that we're we're not to be trusted, or that we're stepping out when we aren't, all of these different areas do have an impact. We start trusting ourselves because we know that we're stepping into we're in a relationship where the trust doesn't live. And so if you're constantly kind of digging into a culture like that, you start slowly dismissing some of those everyday those areas where you're going, this isn't right, but is it? Well, maybe it is. And so it's important for us to kind of recognize some of those symptoms. We feel it. We recognize at times that our brain is very similar in looks as our gut. And so I think if we are starting to feel like something's not right there and we don't lean into it and trust it, but we turn away from that, we're missing some of those signs of toxicity.
Before we go to the next signs, DeMarco, I know you hear me. So I am going to hold the same topic conversation in 2 weeks. So right after Thanksgiving with men. And I would love to have you on that panel with those brothers. You, my brother Ryan, of course, gonna be there. I might have to bring Keon in, too. He would love that. But yes, DeMarco, I want you to know that I flagged you, bruh, and you're gonna need to come on in order to talk about that. And I have a question specifically centering him too. What other signs are there? She put a list out. Tia, come on. What are the signs?
I was just trying to give people to talk. I didn't want to hog the mic. I was just trying to
wait, Tia. Other than telling him to get out once a month or every other month. Let's talk about that.
We can start there. Yeah, we're going to start there.
Just get out.
Because that went on my Meet the Panel profile. We'll start there. So yes, anytime this man did something I didn't like, or even more importantly, something I didn't understand, I was ready to kick him to the curb. It's I laugh about it, but that was just so not cool. It was so not cool because this is somebody, right, who actually cares, who's intentional about showing me that he cares, who is open and he's there, like he's present. I'm here. Whatever you need to talk about, I'm here. It was always open door, but I don't want to talk about it. I just want you to go. And that came from in the previous relationship that I was in, just always having to tell myself, like, I don't need this nigga. If he go, he go, or when I really, really wanted him to go because for my safety, but I was afraid for him to go because of my security, right? I had to constantly remind myself, I'll be okay without him. I'll figure out the rent. I'll figure out this or that. So my mentality shifted to, I don't need him, to, man, I really do need this brother. I need his love. I need his wisdom. But I was so used to telling myself and having to affirm myself in that I would be okay without this one, that every time he did something that I didn't like or didn't understand, I resorted back to that same mentality. Like, I don't need him. Whatever. He ain't gonna do it how I want to do it. I'm also in Aries. So if he ain't gonna do it how I want to do it, right? Or if he isn't doing it
the way that what the Aries thing got to do with this thing at all.
Oh yeah, LaDonna, the only one that's not an Aries on here, but she's she's on the opposite side of us, so she is very similar to us, right, in certain ways. But yeah, that was how I first began to realize, like, okay, I'm operating in a unhealthy space, in a toxic space, because he's like, every time you get mad at me, you can't just send me on my way. Like, that's not how a relationship works. And I'm like, the hell it don't. Bye. But that was my first sign. Okay, that was my first sign. Another sign was me always having like cognitive dissonance, like knowing that I'm worth love, right? I know who I am. I know I'm the same person that I've always been. I've grown, but I'm still the same person at my core. So I know I'm the shit. But then on the other hand, I feel like I'm not worthy of this love. How? Right? So that was another sign. Like, I had to come to some type of compromise with myself. Like, you tripping. How can you say you know you the shit, but then you say you're not worthy of this love? And then, so those are the two that I'll leave it at for now.
Tia, LaToya said, is it okay as a woman to say, damn, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Ooh, wait.
Hell yeah.
Ooh, LaDonna, girl, do you feel me right now?
I don't know if y'all seen that post I made
Girl,
a
that
couple months
like,
ago,
woo.
but I did make a post a couple months ago about that. Like, and you know what? One of my homegirls, she was here at the bonfire. Um, she had said something to me like this, but years ago. Like, it's okay to tell him that you need him. And at that time, I was still in that other space, like, I don't need him. I could do this by myself, blase, blase. But I didn't need that man, right? I didn't need his abuse. I didn't need him and who he was. But this one right here, I need that. I need all that.
So, LaDonna, you came off the mute, and I want us to park here for a minute, ladies, because this one, when she posed that question, I'm gonna put it back up. It hit an emotional nerve in me that was crazy. I felt that thing resonate through me. I mean, like, it's vibrating through me because I've had to spend so many years pretending that I didn't need a man in order to take care of my family. In the absence of a man, I had to convince myself I didn't need one. So now y'all telling me that it's okay to say I need LaDonna? Where we
Yeah,
at? I need to
this
come into
this is
therapy, girl.
so I'm experiencing some sadness right
Mhm.
now. I am working to maintain my composure, but I'm experiencing some deep sadness because the relationship that I gave most of my adult life to, I was um, I was not. I shut down the communication after the vulnerable, honest part. Right? I was vulnerable. I was honest. I asked for what I needed, and I didn't get it. And I asked for what I needed, and I didn't get it. And I asked for what I needed, and I didn't get it. So I stopped asking, but I didn't stop needing it. I've never stopped needing the safety, the security, the protection of somebody that's taller than me, stronger than me, with bigger feet than mine and a deeper voice than mine. That's my thing, you know. Um, I haven't stopped needing that, but I wasn't getting it from where I was asking for it. And even now, I'm not in a relationship at all. I haven't I've yet to experience that healthy relationship where I can ask for what I need from a man and get it. I don't have that. My experience is I ask I, I ask for what I need. No, it's not even I don't even have to ask. I speak about what I want and or need around women and they deliver.
Hmm.
So um that's part of the reason why I invest so much into sisterhood. Like because women have showed me that they are reliable. Women have showed me that they are trustworthy.
Hmm.
But I don't have intimate relationships with women. So there is an intimacy and a companionship from a man that I still want and that I still
Yeah.
need. And
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. And
But
so when
when I
I
first
say
came
what you say,
hold on.
sis?
When I first came off of mute, I wanted to tease Tony because I don't even think you literally read all the words out loud of the question. Did you?
No.
Yeah.
No, I did not. And the trip about because what because it's that the word need, and so I mean it was something that hit hard, and you've articulated it very well. Um, And so I really intentionally wanted, so I had 4 guests today. One of my guests had a flight that conflicted with her ability to be here. And what I'm finding is that just by God's divinity, it was actually the 4 of us. Because you have 2 individuals that are experiencing now that healthy relationship, and 2 individuals that are learning how to articulate what they need and having to find it in different ways. I wanted to stop. I've left up a comment that here, need or want. And I really want to kind of flesh that out a little, if we can. Women, ladies, queens. What's the difference between, how do we differentiate between a need and a want?
For me, a want is something I could function without. We could function because I just want this, but I don't need it. A need is something that I absolutely cannot compromise. I cannot. You're gonna have to deliver this, or we're gonna have to figure something else out, whatever that looks like, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a want is something that we can keep it moving. I might be a little mad, my feelings might be a little hurt, but we could keep on the course.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go here. Life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, food, clothing, shelter.
Okay.
Right. When I saw the comment pop up, it did that to me because I think that needs are something that everyone understands, right? We need food, we need clothing, we need shelter,
Mm-hmm.
and we need security, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we need that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I want a 7-bedroom house with 3 baths and an indoor pool, but what a man is providing to me is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a nice porch, that's meeting my needs, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if I say I'm hungry and we have a grilled cheese sandwich and some tomato soup, that's
Mm-hmm.
meeting my need. If I say, now I want a grilled cheese, why you can't make us a reservation at Ruth Chris? And I'm making the want an extreme just to super illustrate what I'm saying here. Right?
Yes.
Women, adult women know the difference between a need and a want. Adult men know the difference between a need and a want. So when we're having conversations about relationships that are healthy versus unhealthy, and women say something about their needs, I would bet money that they're not talking about Birkin bags, Ruth Chris, or 4-story mansions.
Mm-hmm.
They are talking about real security, shelter, and the necessities of life.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I need to be safe.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I need to be safe. And that is a broad. That's broad too. That is in broad, because the truth of the matter is, I can pay my own bills. I don't need you to pay my bills. I don't need you to provide a roof over my head. I do need you to provide safety. I need protection. I need a covering. Oh no, so I'm gonna go here, and I'm going here in Ebony now. Yeah, I'm going here. Yeah, so I'm finna go here because I have been in situations where I have been uncovered. Damn, this is emotional. Ah, ah. I have been in situations where I have been uncovered and left to be vulnerable and had to fend for myself. I never forget when a king told me, um, earlier this year, Queen, you've been on the front line all these years having to fend for and fight on your own in the absence of a king. You need to stand down and allow yourself to be covered. And I was thinking, what the I've been told in spaces that God is your covering. So in other words, you don't need, I've been told by male leaders that I felt should have covered me from hurt and harm and abusive behavior, that God is my covering. And all that said to me was, you're using that as an excuse to not step up and do what it is that you're supposed to be doing. So I bought into that and stopped expecting that, which then shifted at some point. It shifted the mindset, and I had to bring it back, because it was like, now I'm looking for a sister, you know what I'm saying, to cover me, but I'm not wired that way. And because that's not where I hang out at, it was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this damn thing myself. So what's gonna happen, Ebony, when God sends somebody, that comes equipped, you know what I'm saying, to actually cover me? I'm gonna stand down and let a brother do what he. How did you do it?
Yeah, I think this is a tough one for me. I feel like we're a house divided right now with the needs and the wants. Because me and Ryan, my husband, we had these conversations when, we were first, forming our union around, needs and wants. And I felt as if, and still do, right? Ryan and my husband complements our union is complemented because of each other, mm-hmm. right? But when we met, there was not a need for a husband. I had a village. I had the things I needed: the safety, the security, the food, the shelter, the water. I was covered and whole standing alone. And so was he. He was covered and whole standing alone. And so the union became explosive because of that, not despite. We didn't walk into that relationship having this intense need to feel something that was missing within the other person. We both were full. And so when we collided, it was just something that was just unimaginable for me, because we weren't stepping into a space of needing this. And so every day we're making a choice, not out of need, but out of want. And that feels completely different, because the other relationships I've navigated and having, a compass of what healthy relationships look like, it's easy for me to go, oh, I recognize this and it's nice to know you and goodbye. Or this is what our relationship will be. It will just be, y'all fill in the blanks, right? And because there was a boundary there, and I knew what I wanted in that moment, and what you were providing, I knew there was nothing there else that we could go any further with. But when I met Ryan, and there was healthiness to the dialogue, healthy reflection to our relationships, past relationships, insight, and then just the way we coordinated and collapsed into each other. It was easy. It was an easy choice. When people would say, are you ever going to be into another long-term relationship? I didn't know, because I was so full and happy navigating all of the partnerships that I had. And so now, right, it settles in my spirit, and it feels exactly the way it's supposed to. And there wasn't a doubt for me. I didn't question it, because of how healthy everything was.
Wow. So, Tia?
I got a question for Ebony.
Yeah.
So, considering that where you were when you met him and you didn't need him, now that that's your husband, can you say, I need this man? Is that where you are?
No, I say I want this man. I want this man every day, all the time. if something changes where there is something that is unhealthy in that dynamic, we have to talk about it, and we do when things come up because we're human. But I want him every day. I make a choice to want him.
And I only asked that because
Yeah.
of the question that Latoya asked.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What is between the want and the need?
No.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Is it
She-
okay?
Okay to say.
Yeah, she's needing to know. And I don't think that, and she's
Right.
asking a resounding question that many women are needing to know. Is it okay to need a man? Is it okay for you to need Ryan?
I think it's okay to need love, because I think that's a
Okay.
part of,
Okay.
right, our safety, our security, our, that foundation, that Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I think love is right there. But who's giving it? I think that's all that depends.
Yeah.
So I'm remiss to say there is a need there.
Right.
It's a choice. And
Right.
my village and all of the healthy relationships that I have, I hold on. Those are affirming, loving relationships that I need. They're a part of my needs. It's a part of my needs, but who's doing it? That's the choice. That's
Right.
the want. That's the want for me. So I'm not saying it's not okay to say I need love, but sometimes it may be from a man and sometimes it may be from a woman. And I'm okay with any of those options as long as I'm receiving and giving.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I said house divided, because I love him. I want him here every day.
And I respect and appreciate that, because I'm a firm believer that love is a choice. It's a commitment that we choose to make. And choice then is associated with want. Choice is not associated with need. I choose to commit to do this when it comes to love. I am emotionally intelligent enough and mature enough now in my life and in my mindset to know when I'm operating from a want and a need. And because I'm an Aries, I am exceptionally spoiled. And I want what I want when I want it. Yes. And I feel like I am worthy of it and warrant it, because, I'm exceptionally phenomenal. I'm an amazing, right? With what it is that I bring to the table. So why the hell not? Should I have it? Now that's the brat in me. The mature grown-up woman in me knows, okay, well, you can't have your way all the time. I can then say that I need love. I don't want love. I need love. And I can say that. And then I need to choose who I commit to interact, to engage in with that love and exchange that love with. And that's then where we fall into what is healthy and what is not. I have made some unhealthy choices in who I wanted to love.
Yes. Yes.
So,
I agree. Yes, I agree.
LaDonna, what hit your mind?
Look, I feel lost right now. I don't even know how much I can actually contribute to the conversation, because
I don't know what you're talking about, because you are absolutely contributing.
Okay.
I just feel like, the choice thing, right? The choice. So, I chose somebody, and I love somebody, and it wasn't feeling that good with the person that I chose and that I was loving.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would unchoose that person, right? Unchoose as in, okay, that's it. We breaking up. I'm leaving. I'm packing up. I'm gone. Or you could get out. So like, again, like I said, I gave a significant amount of my adult years to one particular relationship. And since then, all of my relationships have been very short, very temporary. So, um, and the love thing, I don't know if I'm loving these people that I'm choosing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, I don't, I feel like I'm admitting on live TV. I don't know what love is on today. I don't know how I would define it today. There are things that
Mm.
move. There are feelings of being moved, feelings of adoration, um, just the warm fuzzy feeling. I don't even know what else to call it when you see a person or you hear their name when you think about them. So if all of that equates to love, then sure, I'm still loving a lot of people. Um, but yeah,
Mm.
I feel a little stuck right here. Like, yeah.
It's good stuff, though.
I
Mm.
Go ahead, sis.
Ladonna, you talked about the sisterhood that you've strengthened. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's a part of that, right? When I was navigating, being a single woman in the community and through work and through, all the, anything that I'm a part of, that was where I continue to lean on the sisters, because I know when I can do a trust fall with my sisters. That was not always, I didn't feel always that I could do a trust fall with the brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I think about love, it started first with myself, of course. I think that we already talked about how important that is. But then then you go to the first person you can trust and you start to, right? And for me, it was sisters. It was my sisterhood. So I developed and strengthened those relationships. And then I'm like, okay, now after I've been practicing what feels healthy here, I'm starting to practice it outside of those areas that I trust. So I continue to just make those steps into vulnerability of trusting into a partnership. But I think it took time. It wasn't automatic, especially after having to heal and forgive myself and forgive others. That it does take time to be able to lean into navigating past that.
Mm. So you practiced.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me. You practiced.
I practice because that strong Black women don't need anybody. That sometimes that extends out to our sisters too, and so then we don't ask. I need you to be here for me, and because of how I show up, right? The strong Aries, right?
Yes.
Right. We show up for others. We ride or die, right? But then we're like, well, who's riding for me? Right. And it becomes really hard because now that's the concept that people have seen of you, to lean in and ask for help and say, I need you to show up for me. And so I did that. I had to practice that. I had to turn to my sisters and say, I'm hurting right now. I need you to be here for me right now. I'm in harm's way. I don't feel good. I don't know if I'm getting out of bed tomorrow. And then I saw the tribe come, pull me out of bed, put some outfits on me, take me to get some breakfast, feed me, you know what I mean, cover me. And I realized I can practice this too in other places. I can extend that. But I had to start it with the folks that I knew would likely be there first. But that's my experience.
Tia, were you going to lean into this? Oh, go ahead, LaDonna.
I want to say that's beautiful, Ebony. It's beautiful to hear somebody speak on how love showed up for them. It's encouraging, it's inspiring. It helps me deepen my commitment to who I to who I say I'm here for. Because it's everything. It's everything to show up for somebody when they really, really need you, right? And something you said the word trust, and it did something to me, because Uh, I think there was a meme that sparked this. That's a meme that sparked the conversation and
Mhm.
sparked this podcast
Mhm.
about when you have gone through a lot of unhealthy things and been in
Mhm.
unhealthy relationships. It may not be the exact meme, but I've seen. I'm gonna just say this: when you've been in unhealthy relationships, and if there has been some abuse, particularly gaslighting, um, being gaslit for a long time will teach you not to trust yourself. And being able to reach out for help in complete uncertainty and then have that and have that reach met and another hand hold yours will train a person, will train a sister, will train a woman, will train a person that, hey, you yourself told you needed something. You took a risk, you reached out for it. It was met. You can reach out again. You can reach out again, and it will read. Having people show up for you trains you that you can trust yourself to get your needs met. You can trust yourself for the decisions you make to take care of you. And that is, it's a very healing thing. It's a very healing thing. And that is, it's worked for me. It's worked for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's worked for me still. Right? Like I think that's what we missed is that, the healing process is not one. It's not a one and done. It's a constant, and we don't know when those feelings of mistrust are going to come up and they just creep behind you like, oh yeah, you know what they doing right now. and it's not true, right? Because it's those little mosquito bites that, have not fully healed and will come back around. But it's from the unhealthy dynamics that have happened to us in the past. So leaning into that trust, and letting the guard down is critical to that. And recognizing that everybody around us is still human. So the mistakes are there's still going to be mistakes made, right? Leaning into a healthy relationship or detoxing from an unhealthy one doesn't mean that we're still not going to come across folks who are in the midst of their healing journey and are not fully healed and are going to cause harm at times because of their own junk, right? We've all got it. It's how we work through it. It's how we communicate. And I think it's figuring out what are the rules of engagement. And that was something that I felt was important. I mean, I want to say me and Ryan were 2 months, maybe 3 months in when we sat down at a table and wrote down, here's what I need. Here are our rules of engagement. Here's our values and how we're going to hold each other. And we're going to check at least once a month against this list to make sure we're holding to that commitment. And that became a huge part of how we navigated those bumps when they came up, because it's not to act like this is perfect. It's not.
I love um, what you said, Ebony, and to follow up what LaDonna said, just about that being a beautiful space to be in, to be able to lean in on your sisters, or for your sisters to come and pull your ass out of the bed. That's beautiful. Um, in the Be Love holistic kind of activities and events that I hold, I almost always acknowledge that I've never had a strong sense of sisterhood, a strong network of sisters. I have all brothers, so I've always been one of the boys. Every man I've ever dated be like, "You act like a dude. You act, Plus, I'm Aries, so I hold that real masculine energy. So I've never really had a lot of women gravitate towards me, and I was always like, you know, I've had this a lot of this a lot of similar experiences as some of us who we are taught or kind of conditioned to keep a distance from our sisters. But the sisters that I did have in my life were all going through the same stuff as me. The men are being abusive. The men are being unfaithful. So, while I maybe could talk to them, I'm not getting real sound advice, or no one's coming to pull me out of bed. And so I was lacking that. But it took me being very intentional about connecting with Black women, um, and getting rid of that idea that, oh, I don't hang with women, or I don't really kick it with girls or whatever. It took me dropping that, like, for what? Why don't I actually, to really build up a sisterhood. Now, oh my gosh, I feel so blessed and fortunate and just covered by Black women's power and grace and prayer. Yo, it's different. But so I was missing the sisterhood. My mom was, in all these abusive relationships, my sister-in-law, like I was missing that. And I was also missing the love from a man. Genuine love, right? So I always felt by myself. I always felt alone. Even if there was someone that I could call, it was really just to get it out. It wasn't to be covered or to get sound advice or affirmation. It was none of that. So I think that's something that we have to think about, everyone who's tuned into this conversation moving forward. Like, how do we become whole? How do we feel, like you were saying, Ebony, that you were already complete before he came, and you was already happy, you already didn't need nothing. What are the things that, what are the spaces that we need to fill in order to be able to comfortably and confidently enter into these new relationships, whether they be with men or women? What are the spaces that we need to fill? And I know that sisterhood was one of the spaces that I needed to fill. And I've been very intentional just in the last couple of years about building that up. And it has definitely changed my life. It has changed my perspective. It has changed, or improved my energy, you know.
Mhm.
So I just want to acknowledge what both of y'all said. Like, these are very important points that we have to hold high. Because here we are. Here we are. And there are people tuned in because they're experiencing like things, like emotions, like feelings, Um, so yeah, that was all I had for that.
That's the detox right there. The setting the intention. I'm not gonna continue like this, and stepping out and making that action. I need, come get me out of this bed. I'm stuck, y'all. Come get me. Help me. Be setting the intention and having enough trust in yourself that you make that first action. And then somebody responding. And then that helps. And then that's the way they work together, right?
Yeah.
So if each of us says, all right, I'm going to set the intention that I'm gonna be in healthy relationships. If we set that if we said this is the inner work, there's a thought leader named Jim Rohn who says nobody else can do your push-ups for you, right? So this is where we have to do our own push-up. This is where we do the inner. We set the intention that we are not going to, that we, I'm gonna take the not out. We set the intention that we will experience healthy relationships, period. Then we make the choice to do one action to move toward that thing. So if there's 4 women in this podcast right now, all four of us set that intention that we will be in healthy relationships. So now our every part of us, every our physical body, our ethereal body, our emotional, our spiritual body, we got 7 layers of ourselves that are in agreement that we will be in healthy relationships. So when opportunities start to show up, our bodies will respond. That's how we can pick from our sister Ebony.
She
That's how
talking about
we.
she ain't got nothing to contribute. You hear this woman?
She is a
Do you hear
teacher.
her?
You
Do you
have
hear
such
her?
a profound gift of teaching. You just break
Ashe.
stuff. Anyway, go ahead.
Keep going,
Ashe.
LaDonna. I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead. I'm sorry. Just
Yes, keep going.
Ashe. Look, I'm an Asheer, y'all. I will affirm a good thing when I hear it. Ashe. But that's like that. We're bringing ourselves back to our purpose of this particular transmission. We just say inside of ourselves, and this is many years ago, my Baba told me, daughter, do it till you can't do it no more. And that's been my metric, right? Now, 20 years ago, do it till you can't do it no more. I was past, I give a nigga a chance from A to Z. I was over in Arabic, Phoenician. I'm using Hindu and Sanskrit characters. I mean, I'm giving 100,008 chances.
Woo!
You heard me? But now, do it till you can't do it no more. You might get to D. And if we find ourselves at E, the next step is F that. That's it. I learned I have a different metric. I'm using the same metric, but I'm honing in the boundary, right? So one, if I'm saying do it to I will do it till I can't do it anymore. When I reach that, this is the end, this is the no more, because I have set the intention that I will be in healthy relationship. I'm using the same metric to measure the health of my relationship. And I'm committed to taking at least that first action to keep myself healthy. Right? And so all four of us do that. When opportunities show up, we will respond to the opportunity to be healthy. We respond to the chance to be healthy. We respond to the chance to be healthy. We respond to the chance to be healthy. And the next thing you know, we're in a community of healthy people. Right? So that's how we do it individually and collectively at the same time. Because my commitment to myself reflects in how I'm going to show up in community.
Wow. So when I and I'm hearing this, and I promise you, with so much stuff, I'm trying not to take notes. I'm trying so hard to just stay fully present, right? And so I appreciate Toya taking notes and stuff in the chat. So first thing that came to my mind, Toya said, step one, set intentions. For me, I have to go back and say, before I can set intentions, first I got to say, ouch. That's what I heard earlier in the conversation, right? LaDonna, you said that a lot of the times that we have to acknowledge that we're hurting, because we're not even going to move towards change. We're not even going to acknowledge that we want to be healthy until we acknowledge that we're unhealthy. And so there must first be an acknowledgement, right? I can't even begin. Hi, my name is Tony and I am unhealthy. I need to detox from unhealthy relationship mentality. Yes.
Come on.
Yep.
So, and I have to then acknowledge the fact that I'm attracted to something that is unhealthy. Why I like chocolate cake and cookies, that's empty calories, as opposed to the protein that I need and the vegetables that I need in order to give my body the energy in order for me to move forth and be productive in my life. I need to determine why I am so drawn to this thing that is unhealthy. I'm just going to eat chocolate all day long. Chocolate tastes good, it looks good, but it's not always good for you. So I need to determine that, figure that thing out. Understand that it is bringing me harm. And if I say that my intention is to be healthy, I have to address the things that I'm doing that are unhealthy and not in alignment. I need to find some balance then within myself. So, and I appreciate, because my sister Ebony, you broke that down somewhere along this journey. You was like, okay, you know what? I am not balanced. I am not in harmony with myself. I'm operating in intention. I'm fighting with my own inner self will. This is what I say I want. I say I want to lose weight, but I won't do nothing to lose weight. Then either I'm lying to myself by saying that's what I want, or I need to address the other sister girl in me. You know what I'm saying? That is fighting against who it is that I really want to be. So there is there. So we've got to acknowledge that. So that's that step one. Like just be honest with yourself. And it is not easy. It is not easy to walk away from unhealthy relationships, especially if you think you need to be loved, as opposed to love is a need, but if you just need it from this individual, because you can't love somebody into loving you. Now, so I feel a shift, meaning that now we pouring into. We went from having a conversation to pouring into. So for those of you that are tapped in, you cannot love somebody into submission to loving you. They either choose to love you or choose not to. And you know when they've chosen not to love you because you are not satisfied. You cannot express your wants. You cannot articulate them. And I don't just mean sexually satisfied, but that would be a part of it. But you are not satisfied. You are not satisfied or stimulated intellectually. You are not satisfied emotionally. You don't feel covered. You don't feel provided for. You don't feel protected. You don't feel any of that. And you are just taking it and accepting it because something in you is broken and unhealthy. You haven't, got to that point to where you really know you. So yes, acknowledge your pain, acknowledge that you hurt, acknowledge all of that. And then to set your intentions, be very intentional about it, be deliberate. You might want to write down somewhere on your refrigerator, your window, your wall, where you can see it. I choose to be healthy. Spiritually, emotionally, physically, I choose to be healthy, and I choose healthy relationships. Set that as an intention. And then, yes, what did my sister say? Take one step at a time until your whole being is in alignment with that. And if anything that is unhealthy, I don't attract unhealthy people I used to, Tia, because, where I was hanging out, right? You know what I'm saying? They walk up to me, hey, Ma, what's up? Now I'll be like, I ain't your mama and I ain't your baby mama. So I'm trying to understand.
I say.
Ooh, okay, so I'm gonna back up off of that. Okay, I needed to get that off of me. I felt that.
It needed to be heard.
I think that last thing that you said is important. You don't attract those type of people anymore. That was something that I realized once I started healing, right? That I wasn't attracting the same people, men or women. I wasn't attracting the same type of people. Now I'm attracting, when I changed, or I can't even say that I've changed, but when I started being intentional about the energy that I was putting out, right? Because, a lot of us, we wearing a shield. So half the time the energy is like this, right? A lot of times we're putting on a facade because I don't know who you are and I don't know what your intentions are. So I'm going to put on this facade just until I see what's up, right? But when I started being very intentional about being who I am, straightforward, no holds barred, either you fuck with it or you don't. When that was the energy I started carrying, all that negative stuff, it don't even come into my sphere, right? I don't even have to worry about blocking people or, cutting people off, because those type of people that are not good for me don't even come into my environment anymore. My spirit already recognizes their spirit already recognizes mine, and it's already a done deal.
Peace.
Right? So I think that's very important to this conversation, is knowing what type of energy we putting out there. Being conscious of. And then that goes back to the conversation that we started with, just being conscious of self, right?
Right.
Who am I? What do I want? What do I need? What type of people do I need in my space? Who am I going to invite into my space? Like, all of that has to do with these relationships that we end up getting into, that, like Ebony said, she knew from the jump was not healthy, was not viable, right? Um, that's something that we need to be very conscious of. And that takes practice. That takes
Yeah.
practice. That takes patience with yourself. That takes being able to learn and hear your intuition. Because a lot of times we ignore that when
Mm-hmm.
it's a very clear thing. Once you tap in, you can, it's off top, you get it. But it takes practice, right? And we have to be very intentional about um, delving into self in order to ward off those things, people, relationships that we don't want to invite into our space.
And Tia, that's the whole word right there. And to add, I would just say, give yourself grace when you make the mistake, when
Right.
you get it wrong. Recognize it and go, oh, oh, that's what we're doing. Okay. And politely excuse yourself from the dynamic.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yes.
have to continue,
Yep.
right?
Did she say
You always
politely excuse yourself?
politely
Girl, you are lucky
yourself.
Aries.
Goodbye. It was nice, and we're done, right? And I think we don't do that enough. We're not standing. There is that, because I think there's that need and want dynamic where we're needing so much that we ignore the flags, because there's this strong desire pool, intense pool to be needed, to have that relationship and to sit in relationship, that we accept and we ignore all of the flags that we shouldn't be and we know is not right for us. And so I just, give yourself grace and go, oh, this is not what I'm looking for. This isn't what I was hoping to attract. You're not
Mm.
it, brother.
Ebony, and
You're not it, sis. Goodbye.
can't we say then that ignoring the flags is like ignoring your back pain, ignoring the fact that your vision is blurry, and that you have frequent urination, and it might be that you are experiencing symptoms of diabetes,
Yes, because
this
it's only
is
going to get worse, right? If you would keep ignoring the symptoms of frequent urination, you're going to be in a whole lot of pain later. And it's the same with our relationships.
Ooh, I wanted to say something, but because what I'm gonna say is gonna shift us, and I know it. Look, but Donna leaned in. So before I shift us, anybody want to add anything to this? We get
I
okay.
wanted to say that
Go
I
ahead,
wanted to
Ladonna.
say very quickly that giving yourself permission to pay attention to the red flags is a form of self-love. Like there's some words that's out there in the social medias that are trendy: self-love, self-care. Um and the memes will have you think that it means to treat yourself to a lavish meal, a lavish experience. What I'm going to interject here is that self-love and self-care can be just that small act of saying, yeah, this hurts and I might have to go check it out.
Woo.
Right? It don't have to be super deep. It don't have to be something you judge. We don't have to judge and punish ourselves if we haven't been. We don't have to judge or punish ourselves if we haven't been. You do not have to judge or punish yourself if you haven't been loving yourself and caring for yourself enough.
Say
You
it
can start
again. Wait,
now.
hold on.
You can start now and commit to loving and caring yourself a little bit more,
Woo.
without judgment, without punishment, without shaming yourself. Just, it's okay. Like, we hard on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We are hard on ourselves. We love to say that, and even when we hear a truth, we like to say, "Oh, that just punched me in the stomach. Oh, that just kicked me in the ass." We don't have to be abusive in our word and our thought and our treatment of ourselves. And if we have been, when we have been, it's okay to say, I'm going to love myself a little more. I'm going to do that a little bit less.
Mm.
I'm going to love myself a little more. I'm going to do that a little bit less. Start paying attention to the things that make me uncomfortable. Because where I'm going, I want to be comfortable. I want to be satisfied. I want to be healthy so I can be healthy in relationship so that I can experience love like I've never experienced it.
Ashe, I've been seeing a something on Facebook lately that said you can't love yourself and hate the experiences who made you who you are, or something like that.
Ooh, wee.
You know what I'm saying? So like, and that's something that I had to overcome. Like I've had so many negative experiences from my childhood that, you know, in the past I was ashamed to talk about. I was embarrassed that it happened to me. I was, you know, just very reluctant to even reveal, right? But when I look at who I am to myself, who I am to my children, who I am to my parents, my brothers, my village, I know that I'm irreplaceable.
Hmm.
I know that I am divine. I know that it is all of those things that I experienced that made me this great,
Yes.
this being that no one else could ever be compared to. There's no, you know, so I cannot be ashamed. I can't be embarrassed. There's no need for that. Because had I not had those experiences, had I not experienced that pain, I wouldn't be who I am. I wouldn't be this fucking amazing. Right?
Right.
So
Ah.
I think that speaks to love too. Like that was something that me and Keon, my partner, you know, we had to flesh out. Just going through our getting to know each other phase. I was 100% straightforward, everything on the table. Like either you gonna fuck with me or you not, right? Um, and that's where I was, and I think that's what made him fall in love. Like, oh shit, she for real, you know? Um, because you're not gonna make me feel a way about myself, right? You nothing that you can say about something that I've done or something that I've experienced. You're not gonna make me feel a way about myself. You're not gonna your judgment or your opinion is not gonna change how I feel about me. And that was something that I had to definitely wrap my mind around. Um, and come to accept, like if he's judging you, then that's probably not the person that you need to be with. If he can't understand or at least empathize and sympathize, and that's probably not the person that you need to be with, right? um but yeah, I think I've probably been the most straightforward and honest with him because by the time I met him, I was 33. By the time I met him, I was tired. Right? I'm tired of these brothers. Okay, I ain't gonna call them what I would have called them, but I'm tired, right? And like I was saying earlier, a lot of my friends were in similar relationships or no relationships and still trying to navigate that. And so I'll be like, why you ain't tell me? Why you ain't warn me? You know, I feel bad or I feel angry or mad or upset. Like I know you saw these characteristics, or I know when I was telling you this story that you knew that this wasn't a brother that I need to be pursuing. You my sister. You should have been like, nah, sis, like, you know, but they were
Would you
like,
have listened? Would you have received it?
probably because I didn't have anything else.
Okay.
You know, I think they were just in the same place that I was, like, well, maybe,
Okay.
you know what I mean?
Oh, yes, I do.
You never
Yeah.
know. And
He's just
so,
not that into you. Y'all seen that
That's
You
what I
seen
wish
that
somebody
movie?
would have told me. He's just not
Yeah.
that into you.
But have you seen the movie He's Just Not
I've
That
seen it.
Into You?
Mhm.
Okay. And so it's you haven't seen it, Ebony? Yeah, you know what, sis? I mean, it's a feel good movie, for sure. But yeah, chick flick. But it's that thing to where all of the unhealthy things women make excuses for, in order to tell you, that he really is the one. So they ignore all the flags. It's the way that society has conditioned women to ignore flags that tell you he's not that into you. He really ain't into you. Sis, he ain't calling you. He ain't responding to you. You don't hear from him. He really ain't that into you. Sis, he won't take you out nowhere. He only show up, to hit it and then move on. Sis, he really
Mm.
ain't that into you. He ain't the one. We don't talk like that to each other. We downplay that, oh, you know what, well, he's just, and he got this mentality, and you got to work with. No, set your intentions, say ouch, set your intentions, and then one step at a time. Right? Say ouch, set your intentions, and then one step at a time. LaDonna is gonna be my accountability partner, right? And I'm gonna be hers. Says, ouch. I've already said it. Now y'all done pulled me out the bed, out the fire. I've set my intentions. Now what we gotta do is one thing at a time. And if it doesn't align, keep it moving. Graciously, ain't that what you said, Ebony?
Politely.
Polite. Thank you. Thank you. It's been really nice. No, wonderful. And I so appreciate and I'm so grateful and thankful for, what it is. And oh yes, and I'm gonna keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Keep
It was
it moving.
something Kiana said to me, because I was the type to be like, oh, well, I'll keep this person on my social media. They're cool. And he said, I want them to wonder whatever happened to you. I want them to wonder whatever happened to you.
Mm.
And at first I was like, well, that's harsh. But when I think about the things that they put me through, right? The emotional turmoil and everything that they put me through, like, yeah, you finna just wonder whatever happened to me, And then when you see me, this is what you see, a healthy person, a healthy
Yes.
person, and a happy person. I mean, and now I don't even think about it. But this was very early on in our relationship where there was still, some teeter totter. I don't know what I'm doing. Am I here? Am I there? Am I? And now it's that stays in my head, because they always gonna wonder what happened to you. The Tony that they will never ever 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 experience again. The Ebony that they will never ever 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 experience again. The LaDonna that they will never ever 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 experience again, right? And we ain't thinking about them, nan. We are happy and healthy. We may not be in relationships, but we are happy and healthy.
Yes. And that's okay. Can I say that? Can I say that? And can I say that out loud?
Please say it and say it again.
Yeah, I'm going to say
Absolutely.
that. And I feel emotional with that, LaDonna. That brings emotions in me. Not because of sorrow, not because no one told me back when that it was okay to be by myself. That I am enough. That I'm worthy of my own time. That I'm worthy of my own peaceful environment. It's okay.
And that was one of the things I wrote down when you had initially asked us, what the song brought up for us is I am enough. Because as soon as something happened that didn't go in our favor, we start taking away from ourselves. Well, maybe I didn't do this, or maybe I wasn't on time for that, or maybe we start taking away from ourselves when it's not. What's for you is for you, and only you.
That's right. I think that we've got too many narratives. That goes back to we're not enough, but that also a relationship defines who we are. Instead of, us defining who we are, that partnership is the end goal, that we're always looking at what the narrative is that tells us who we need to be and how we need to be. And then we allow that to compromise. We compromise self because of it, right? We lean into things that we shouldn't be doing. We accept things that we shouldn't accept because everyone's saying that's the end goal. That this marriage with the children and that's not how we need to be defining ourselves. We create the story. We create our own stories. And when we find the power in how we create, the rest is history, because we have to accept that. We have to harness it and not allow all of the other pieces to shape us.
Everything in society is saying and telling me that I'm supposed to be married and meet my Prince Charming.
Right.
I grew up in the church. And so and don't get it twisted. I love Abba Father. I'm in deep relationship. However, in that entity and organization and institute, you're single until married. Everything is until married. And so you waiting for your Boaz. It's always I'm waiting for my Boaz. And let me go ahead and put it out there. Boaz, if you're looking, I'm right here. And I choose you and want you. Now, do I need you to survive? No. Do I need you to exist? No. However, you know what I'm saying? It's that narrative that has put out. I believe that's that thing. It's that it's Disneyland, fairy tale, everything. Everybody's waiting for the kiss of Prince Charming to come and wake them up, and that leaves us, I feel, vulnerable, as well when it comes to being healthy in relationship. Then you just settle for whatever is coming. You settle for whatever. And I'm just gonna wait until he gets right. And it's unhealthy. It's toxic. That's a whole nother conversation. That's just a whole nother. Cake was never intended to be dinner. And potato chips were never intended to be, but it's not a healthy meal.
So I'm smiling right now because you brought up the Boaz, and I'm waiting on Django. I'm in South Sac off of Power Inn, Django, and set it off on your way to come get me. Like that's what I'm waiting on, right? And I'm just being I'm being serious, but I'm smiling. We are waiting, like you said, we as in American society, little girls are taught. There's a programming for little girls that you are waiting for this guy to come and give you your happily ever after, right?
Yeah.
That's the programming. Ebony just said, we gotta change the narrative. We gotta rewrite the narrative. So, which brought me back to my response to the song when I said we need to hear more of that. We need to hear more new ideas that counter the programming. We need to hear more Black-centered ideas that counter the programming. And as we begin to rewrite the narrative, we create new possibilities for ourselves, right? We create new possibilities for ourselves. And then it's not just jokes for someone to look for a Boaz and a Django, right? It's not a joke anymore. I can actually set the intention that I would like the type of man who will burn it down for me. And that's okay for me. And that don't have to be the type of guy y'all like. But if I know the type of guy that I like, and I know what that would make me feel like if he shows up, guns blazing, looking the opposition dead in the eye, like I wish you would. That's mine. I came from mine. I wish you would. I'm gonna celebrate that, and I'm gonna celebrate my sister waiting on Boaz, and I'm gonna celebrate my sister who found her compliment, and I'm gonna celebrate my sister who found the one that she says, "Oh yeah, I need that." I'm gonna celebrate my sisters as we claim what it is we're looking for, as we find those things that we're looking for, because I believe that us saying it unapologetically gives the, what was the sister Toya who posted, is it okay to say this? Because whether we like the way it sounds when it comes out, we are social creatures. And as people, we get recognition and validation from each other.
Mhm.
Some folks, and people have their different ideas about that, but at just a very base level, it's the truth, right? So I want to model what it looks like to go for what you want, so somebody else can see it and say, oh, okay, and let my walking it out give that sister permission to walk hers out too. Because the only reason I can do it now is because somebody else did it and I saw how well it worked for them.
LaDonna,
I'm not
you
that strong. I'm not that deep that I just up jumped the boogie and, oh, check this sister out. No, I was fucked off, laid out in the carpet, face down, and somebody else was not. And I was able to raise my head up a little bit. Y'all know those, and if I get silly with it, I'm gonna be doing the Oprah from Color Purple. When I seen you in that store, I was feeling mighty bad. I was feeling mighty low. But I saw another sister thugging it out, pushing through. And it gave me the strength to stand up and raise my head up and try to do the same. So I'm always find a way to work it back to what sisters do for each other and what it is we doing for ourselves. So I'm a yield the mic. I say.
I say. I appreciate that, because I think you're speaking to everyone's journey is unique and honoring, right? Like if you know, Toya is saying, is it okay to say I need him? And I say I want. It's okay for her to say I need him, for me to say I want, right? Because that's my journey and that's how I cultivate in my relationships. But you doing something different is okay too, right? Because that's our diversity. We're not a monolith. We don't have to have the same journey around how we accept, receive, need, want, love.
Wow.
What's okay for you is okay for you, and what's okay for me is what's okay for me. Shout out to Tisha talking about these earrings. I know Ebony London was on here for a minute, but I feel like we need to go ahead and just give a shout out to all
Ebony
of the
London.
Ebony London puts together. Look at these dope earrings. Yes, yes.
Shout her
Ear
out.
art, ear art.
This was not planned. Let's be clear. This was not.
But we all know what's up.
That's
but
right.
We all know what's up. Okay.
Yes.
Tony didn't wear them, but she had hers close by.
Right.
Well, because they were an option. So
Yeah.
I need you to know I wasn't sure. You see
Oh,
what I'm
she
saying?
did. She here. She said, "Hey."
They were an option.
Definitely
So-
gotta give that shout out.
So, hey, y'all,
Tony,
we're gonna
real quick,
go ahead.
because it's following up with what both of the sisters was just talking about. Before I found love, I had posted something on, Facebook show you who you used to be. So I got a Facebook memory that comes up, and I said, I don't need a man. I don't need to be taken care of, but I need to feel like I'm being taken care of, or something like that. It was something along those lines, right? And where I was at with that was, I can pay my own bills. I can change my own headlight. I can kill spiders. And, I can do all of the things. Girl, YouTube, we can do anything with YouTube. Anything with a manual, right? I don't need a man to take care of me. That's what I said. I don't need a man to take care of me, but I do need to feel like I'm being taken care of. So that's what it is. I think that speaks to what both LaDonna, Ebony, and Toya posted earlier about, is it okay to say that I need a man? It's okay to say, like Ebony said, you can say you want or need, whatever it is. But in my mind, I know that I'm capable of all things. I know that I can do whatever needs to be done. If I can't, I know somebody else who can get it done for me, right? But I prefer to have a man who makes me feel taken care of, who makes me, those things that I do want, that he is willing to fulfill for me, that he wants to make happen for me, right? So I don't need a man to take care of me, but I need to feel like I'm being taken care of. And I think that just spoke to the difference between the need and the want. Yes, Toya just got them one of my favorite songs. You know, I can kill the spider above my bed. Yes, all of that, all of those things. I lived by myself for a long time. I moved to Mississippi and then I moved to Missouri, and you know, I was by myself. So there was snow there. I had to learn how to shovel snow and clean the ice off of my car and all of, you know, like we can learn these things. Like we got it.
Girl, I'm bougie as hell.
But it feels better. It feels good to know that my man got it, you know, like the other, something so simple. I changed the way I drink my coffee all the time. It's really depending on what's in the house. Sometimes we have brown sugar, sometimes we don't. Sometimes we have oat milk, sometimes we don't. But you know what? Every time I make my coffee, he's paying attention to what I'm putting in it and how much I'm putting in. And the other day, I've changed my coffee, and you know, over the last couple weeks. And the other day, he made my coffee, and it was exactly how I wanted it.
Wow.
You see what I mean? I ain't told him, hey, bruh, I put this much oat milk and I put this much, you know, brown sugar. I ain't told him nothing, but it tasted delightful. And those are the small things that really, really count. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't need that coffee to be like that. I want it to be like that.
Yes.
He delivers, and I feel like I'm taken care of.
Right? Girl, look, now.
Listen, I said, look, you saw the eyes on the chat. Listen, because that coffee every morning, I just need to go ahead and shout that out real quick. It is something to behold when you are trying to get that day going, and every morning in bed, I get that cup of coffee.
Especially with 3 babies, like
that's the icing on the cake right there. That's the icing on the cake.
Okay, so wait a minute. So, and I don't typically, you know, it's like I don't typically do this, but I'm going to, so I'm going to wrap us up in this way. I'm going to take 3.5 minutes to share another song, and then we're going to end by wrapping up, you know, based on that song that I share. Okay, so I'm going to pull it up real quick. Now, this artist, his name is Londrell. I absolutely love me some Londrell. Whoo! Yes, I do. I promise you I do.
What do you want?
You know, excuse the commercial part. We're going to ignore that if I can get out of it.
Want to do something that matters?
Yes.
Feels. I find it so amazing how you still exhibit love even though you've been hurt too many times. Beautiful black woman, I see the stars in your complexion and the moon in your eyes. You're more like an angel in a human disguise. As soon as I make it to heaven, the first thing I'll do is paint pictures of you in the sky. You have such a beautiful mind and immaculate natural skin. All the diamonds in the world do not compare to you, my African gem. And everything about you is magnificent and spectacular. No matter your complexion, you still exemplify the essence of Africa. Do you know who you are? Who you really are? Do you know you can be what you want to be? If you try to be what you can't, you know you can learn what you want to learn.
Black girl magic, black girl magic. Beautiful soul, natural skin. Body look like you just got back in the gym. Beautiful soul. Natural skin.
I know at times I may not have the words to express to you, but even when you at your worst, I'll try my hardest to execute and bring out the best in you. I thank God for blessing you with excellence and benevolent worth, because every day next to you is like a festival of heaven on earth. You see, I love everything about you. Your blackness is greatness. With the the soul of a million suns. You inspire the happiest faces. Even when I'm lacking in patience, you still bring out the best in me. I would try to give you the world, but you can show me galaxies that I never seen. I pray to God that you never leave.
Black girl magic, black girl magic. Beautiful soul, natural skin. Body look like you just got back in the gym. Beautiful soul, natural skin.
I find it so amazing how you still exhibit love even though you've been hurt too many times.
Beautiful black woman.
I see the stars in your complexion and the moon in your eyes. Beautiful black woman, I see the stars in your complexion and the moon in your eyes. Everything about you is truly magical. I really don't mean to objectify you, but you bad as a 10. Body look like you just got back in the gym. Beautiful soul, natural skin. Been asking your friends if you single or not. You really don't mingle a lot. So many kings and so many things, but you are the queen at the top. Feels.
So when you hear something like that, and I see you guys smiling, I love how he intertwines, just the what he is saying and affirming, and then the little girl, that is speaking or what have you. And so, if you could speak to the little girl in you as a queen today, what would you go back? What would you tell her? What word of wisdom would you, pearls, treasures, would you give her based on the conversation we've had today? Ebony.
Oh my goodness, start with me. Okay. To embrace every part of your journey. You are exactly where you need to be. Mm-hmm. You have choices, and to love yourself.
You have choices. You have choices. So, ladies, those of you that are tapping in, embrace yourself. Embrace the journey. You are right where you need to be. And you have choices. Yeah. Ashe.
Ashe.
Tia.
This one is so hard. It's so hard, especially because I just had a daughter and I've been in my bag. Like, how do I? What do I? Where do I start? But I'll just go with like the mantra that I've been trying to live by, and that is just to be love. Be love. It will emit from you and it will come to you. As hard as that may sound, easier said than done, right? Because we know it's a lot of motherfuckers out there to make us not want to be love. To just be that. Just be that.
Be love. In spite of, despite, irregardless, be love. That's a choice that we have to make every day. LaDonna?
I have difficulty with the inner child stuff, the little girl inside of you stuff. Pressing past that, I would say to the little girl inside of me, look further, look further. There is so much more out there. Look further than Carmichael, look further than Sacramento, look further than California, look further than the United States. This is an entire planet, baby girl. There are no limits. No limits.
This is why I love LaDonna. Something as simple as look further. Just think about where that takes you. Not like as grown ass women. We talking about a child, talking about a baby, but just as a grown ass woman, look further. That's deep. This is why I love LaDonna. I always get something out of having a conversation with LaDonna. That's my sis. Like we talk about bald headed hoe shit. Ain't that what you call it? We talk about bald headed hoe shit. We talk about spiritual guidance and you know, we talk about everything. But it doesn't matter if we vibrating low or we vibrating high. I always get something from her. So like I want to affirm you today, LaDonna. You was talking about you didn't know what you have to contribute.
God.
Like sis, you contribute, you offer so much every single time, everywhere you are. I need you to know that.
Yeah.
I need you to know that.
Yeah.
That's peace. That's peace. I appreciate that, and I receive it. Thank you.
Yeah, and you have watered the soil to my soul today. You have literally, and I do not say that lightly. Very rarely am I poured into, because I'm always doing the pouring. Very rarely do I have someone authentically pour into me. And you have literally watered my soil. Yeah. Don't downplay yourself at all.
Ever.
Yeah. So I am expecting God to bless you exponentially for pouring into the soul of a prophet today. I am expecting a prophet's reward for you. Yeah, you receive that. It is so. Yeah. Thank you, God.
Awesome.
Ooh, okay. So I'm going to say what I typically have been saying this year. I would say to myself, and I'm not going to speak to the little girl, I'm going to speak to the 20-year-old me. Don't forget to live. Don't forget to live. If they can go, you can too. Where they can go, you can too. What they can do, you can too. I just need to remember to look further.
I'm telling you, LaDonna, you got Sisterhood Saves there. You need to think about printing up Look Further as well. Thank you.
Woo. Yeah.
That's word. Say it with your chest, knuckle.
so ladies, I'm going to ask that you would just stay in this space with me for a moment. I'm going to transition us from live. Y'all, it's been real today. I mean, like rich. Shoot, I'm going to have to like go sit down for a minute after this conversation today. Ebony, oh my God. I am blessed. Tia, always. So I don't even take that. I mean, I don't take you for granted for letting me in your life and letting me imprint on your baby and just be a part of your family. Um, you are my Sacramento family sisters. I mean, for real, like I had to look further, LaDonna, than the San Joaquin County in order to get what I needed, in order to breathe. Um, and so I'm sharing with everybody what it is that God has surrounded me with. I appreciate the love. If I get stuck, I already know who to call because I know y'all gonna respond. It ain't gonna be but a second. So I love you guys so much. You guys share this live that we had today. I'll drop a link to our YouTube so that you can share that in different spaces. Y'all need to share it in a text. Y'all need to share this conversation because this one right here was a real one. I appreciate you guys. And so y'all be blessed this weekend. Thanks for joining the Anti-Black Conversation.
Tony, before we tap out, we got to give honor and love and respect and thanks to you
Yeah.
for holding this space,
Yes.
for being who you are in all of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we cannot get off of here without acknowledging that.
That's right.
Thank you for who you are to me. We've had many conversations about various things, including detoxing from relationships. Okay. And thank you for being the honorary grandmother, God grandmother to our baby girl. Okay. Like don't play with it. You are monumental and divine, and you are an important part of our village. And we love you and we thank you for everything that you do all the time. Because this is where your heart is. This is where your heart is. Like if anybody know Tony, she know this is where your heart is, in the community with the people.
Yeah.
And healing. Okay. So thank you for holding this space and giving us a chance to be vulnerable and talk shit. Right?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
Love you guys so much.
Love you, sis.
Love you.
All right, y'all. Peace out.
Peace.